Hey everyone, Sam here, coming in at the last minute of May almost. So sorry. I've been so busy and I studied the entire Memorial weekend. We had Monday off, but I studied because I fell behind and senior semester's a little rougher than expected. Everyone talks about junior semester, oh, it's so hard, it's difficult, and I think it's because you just don't have that much free time. But a word of advice is if you don't let yourself get carried away with like watching TV or doing other things, then you won't have such a hard time pulling yourself away from that. I didn't do a whole lot of it, but right now I'm to the point where I have 80 days until graduation, and I'm just telling myself, get through this and then you can have your life back. So I don't want to put anything to chance when I'm so close to the end of it. So I spent most of the entire weekend, I watched a little of my TV shows, but I spent most of the entire weekend making my charts and studying for my next two tests. So we did not have a test today, but we did have an emergency medicine lab. That's why I'm in PTs. It was really cool. So it was all about trauma and airways and everything. So the instructors really make it fun and interesting. So super glad to have all of them there today. I definitely needed to do my video today, I felt, because I got a comment of rumor mill type thing. But somebody commented and asked if phase 2 site location or selection was still a thing. All of you pretty much know that my class, we kind of got to choose. There were some people that didn't get their number 1. It did go down to the number 4. All the officers, because we didn't have very many, got their number 1, and they figured it out amongst themselves basically. And then for us enlisted, the lowest somebody got was their number 4 choice, which is not bad when you think about it in Army terms, and when you think about how there were 17 locations. Well, technically for our class there were 14 options for enlisted. So I don't think it's bad, but the current juniors for the Army do not have a say in where they go. So they're moving forward. They will be assigning phase 2 locations close to when you arrive here at the schoolhouse to begin phase 1, close to the beginning, because they are finding that people are getting their orders too late. They can't schedule transportation. They're being forced to have a ditty move because they're just so close, or EFMP stuff isn't able to be transitioned quick enough for a PCS move. And because they say 60 to 90 days out right now, like I said, we're 80 days to graduation and nobody has orders yet. So if you've had to do a PCS before, you know that that's not much time to schedule for people to come pick up your stuff, to move to, like, it's also height of PCS season in the summer. So with us being mid-August, we're going to be like right there in the middle of it. Luckily, I only need to take what can fit in my car because I'm going home to a house full of people and things. But I do feel for anybody that's maybe moving by themselves, moving with kids, moving in general, that is taking more than what can fit in their car, because it's not having orders, not being sure where you're going, or because things can change at the last minute. Even having orders in hand doesn't guarantee you anything, because it can still change. So it's really, but it helps give you some relief. So it's really something. And I mean, there's people here that are waiting to like rent an apartment, look at housing until you can't even get on a housing wait list until you know you're coming, until you are have orders in hand. So it's a lot for a lot of people, and so I hope everyone can understand why they're moving to that. They're just going to start assigning you still MACP, EFMP. Well, I'm not, I believe MACP, but I know EFMP will be prioritized. MACP typically is, but I heard a rumor that they may do away with that at one point, because you do agree to come in with I'm not sure, but I believe MACP. But of course, that's only married Army couples program, so there's not that for all the other services. Maybe other services have their own thing, but that's and then EFMP. I believe, I don't know if it's the same in other services, but Exceptional Family Member Program, I believe. So like what I was in it at one point because one of my kids was in speech therapy, but there's different reasons to be in it. So I know that's hurting a lot of people's feelings, but even people that aren't even accepted in the IPAP yet, so that's kind of wild in my opinion. But I mean, that is the price you pay to come here too. They're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, giving you 2 degrees, putting you through school, the least thing you can complain about is where you got to go for phase 2. So me and my husband, even coming into the schoolhouse and my family not coming with me, we knew that there was a chance I would not go back to phase 2. We actually expected me to not go back to Fort Liberty for phase 2. So I'm just fortunate enough that it worked out in my favor. So I urge everyone to not be, I know it's probably sounds so little coming from me, but I urge everyone to go in with an open mind. So a couple questions I got were about science GPA. My science GPA was pretty good. I just looked the other day when I got this question, I looked at my academic worksheet, and I think my biological sciences and my chemistry, they're listed separately, and one was like 3.6, the other 3.4. I did have some like withdrawal pass and drop pass classes because I kind of knew when I got to the point in the semester that I was not going to be successful, so I dropped it and retook it at a later date, except for organic chem. I did not retake that. No, I did not. I just didn't have the mind power at the time, and then I just shifted gears because that's when I was originally hoping to be a pharmacist, but glad I dodged that bullet. Just kidding for any of you pharmacy people out there. Science classes, if you need to bring up your science GPA, I recommend taking biochemistry, endocrinology, hematology, immunology, microbiology, neurology, parasitology, and pharmacology. Any of those. There's also anatomy and physiology, but you already have to take 6 hours of that. But any of those, if you need to bring up your science GPA, they will tremendously help because almost all of them you take again here. Immunology you don't take here, and parasitology you don't, but parasitology comes in handy a lot with microbiology and also with infectious disease. So all of these courses are going to help build an amazing background and give you some amazing information for things that you'll learn here in the schoolhouse. The SAT, the minimum's 1,000. I say always shoot for just above the minimum. I would say try to get at least 1,100 if you can, obviously. I got 1340 for reference. I think I had like a 680 on reading and 660 on math, and then I did it when they were still writing portion. I don't think you guys have that anymore. So it's like always go for more, but I mean just do the best you can. If you are one that like didn't get a couple concepts, like I really struggled with trig when I was in high school and early college, like I would have done better probably if I would have reviewed some of that beforehand. There's also like Khan Academy can give you like little tutorials on things if you want to study. There's always those SAT for dummies and stuff like that too. So if that's something that you're working on, you can always retake it and do another one next year if you don't get in this year and stuff. For PA-CAT, from my understanding, it's not necessarily something that will make or break your application by any means, but it's kind of for them to gauge people that are getting through the program, how did they enter the program. And so I believe for my board, I don't think it was being used as criteria for selection yet, but it could have changed by now because they are they are hoping to, if they aren't currently, one day use it for selection criteria, I believe. But I don't think there's anything weighing on it right now. I got, when they broke it out down into 5 quintiles, so like top 20% all the way down to the bottom 20%. And I know there were some I was in like the 4th or maybe the 5th, and then there was some I was like down in the 2nd. I do know that my average overall was right in the middle quintile, so I was like right at average. So obviously we have good, like we're better at some things and worse at others. I think I was better in like biology and chemistry, and my anatomy and physiology was not at all good, something like that. But then I got a question about the letter of intent. I urge you to not write what you think they want you to hear. I feel like I did that my first year. When I went back and read the letter that I first sent in, I didn't even feel like it was from me. So then the second year, I probably rewrote it 5 times. They want to hear why you want to be a PA. What got you interested in it? What drove you to like look more into it? What kind of things can you bring to the table of the medical corps? Why does the medical corps need you, or why do you think you're going to be successful in the program and in the medical corps? Because anybody can like sit in a classroom, anybody can like learn medical things, and like so like also if you're somebody who's like, I just want to do medical, I don't know, maybe a nurse, maybe a PA, maybe PT, maybe a doctor. Like a PA is a very specific job. It's different from an NP, it's different from a doctor, so it's different from a nurse. So understanding those differences is probably your first step if you're on the line of those. So I encourage you to do research if you haven't, and if you need some more understanding on like what different responsibilities or what different capabilities there are. Then write in your letter of intent, like what drives you, why do you want to? I know for me, I absolutely loved the sciences and the health and all of that, all of those subjects in school. And then I went on my first deployment straight out of AIT to Iraq, and I worked in a joint environment, and I got to meet and work with Navy personnel. So the Navy PAs there were awesome. The Navy medics were great. It's just, actually, one of the medics I think was even Air Force. I don't think we had any Army medical that I remember, but everybody was great. Everybody loved their job. Everybody like wanted to help and do things, and it was a great time. I didn't work with them too much because as you guys know, I was Intel before switching here. But I did get to be around them somewhat, and then shadowing. I shadowed over 2 years with my battalion PA, and she was amazing. And then I also got to shadow a sister battalion PA to get a little different insight, because he went through IPAP, whereas my battalion PA did not. She went to civilian school and then joined the Army. So it's also good to like kind of get different perspectives. So if you aren't sure, or if you want a different perspective, I encourage you to reach out to other units, or ask whoever you're shadowing if there are also other people you can shadow. Just get different perspectives, because everyone works differently. So even everybody I'm in class with, we all approach situations differently, but we always have ideas to bounce off, feedback to bounce off. I truly enjoy every one of my classmates, and I'm so glad that I think God put me into the seat I'm in, into the program at the exact time, and everything has worked out really well for me. As far as packet submission, somebody asked if like they should definitely turn theirs in like right away, October 1st. And I do not think that is ideal, unless you just know like your packet is complete, and you're not getting any more awards, any more awesome NCOERs, anything like that, any more schools that you will complete between then and March 1st. If you're completely done with your packet and you're comfortable with it, and I highly suggest you have at least 2 people read over or proofread your packet. Even if they aren't familiar with IPAP, sometimes they can see things that stick out. And I am always free to review whatever for anyone. Even if you just, like, you want to send over your LOI and be like, how does this sound? Or can you read this and provide feedback? I don't mind. I submitted my packet my first year. It was when we mailed them in, and I overnighted it 2 days before, I believe, or 3 days before. It was right before. And then the year I got in, I emailed it, and I think I emailed it 2 days before. So I am one that, since the board isn't until June, they're not really looking at your stuff before then. They're not, trust me, nobody's going through and saying, oh, they submitted theirs right away, so they've got it, like, they've got their stuff together. And sometimes you're waiting on something that's out of your control. My last thing I think I got in was I was waiting on an LOR from my sergeant major, who actually was so busy he didn't get the time, so it got submitted with only 4 LORs instead of 5, like I had planned. Some people say that you need to max out your LORs, and I don't think that's the case. I think it depends on the integrity and the wording and the LORs that you do have on how people see you. And because it is a whole person packet. It's not, these people don't pick and choose as much as people think, in my opinion, my unprofessional opinion on that. I was also waiting on my conditional release from branch. So it took me a few days to get that, but luckily I had a great Start First class working up at branch who, like, really pushed for me to get it back in time. So I got it, I submitted it, emailed it in a few days before the deadline, and here I am now. It's been almost 2 years since that list came out. Next month will be 2 years, and here I am getting ready to finish. We took 5 tests so far in the senior semester. It has been rough. Our averages have been the lowest as a class, have been the lowest they've ever been, I believe. My personal average is, it might also be the lowest after 5 tests at the beginning of a semester. But I am comfortable with where I'm at. I'm comfortable with passing, and that's all you need to do is pass and move on. I think a lot of things click for people in phase 2 because you get hands-on, you get to meet patients, you get information from every doctor, PA, NP, anybody that you work with or around in all of the clinics and all of the situations. It's going to be really eye-opening, and I'm nervous, anxious, and excited for it all at once. So sorry about the plants in the back. They might be a little bit distracting. I am dog sitting / house sitting this week. So we get this nice greenery. But it's a change up from my normal blank wall behind me. So if you guys have any questions, any concerns, feel free to email me, and don't be too upset about the phase 2 stuff. They're doing it really to benefit everyone so that you have orders, you know where you're going, you can plan, your family can plan, and all of that. So I believe it's definitely, I believe that everybody here is definitely always trying to get things headed in the right direction. Sometimes it just doesn't work out in favor of everyone, because you can't always make everybody happy. So, well, if you guys have any concerns, reach out. I'll put my email in the box down below like I usually do. Have a great last few days of the month, and talk to you guys again in June. Bye.